was driving pretty fast when the big black sedan came roaring at me. I tried to hold the car from crashing into the guardrail, but suddenly the wheel twisted out of my hands like a headstrong woman, and the car got a mind of its own.
The New Adventures of Michael Shayne, Private Detective. Michael Shayne, reckless, red-headed Irishman, back again in his old haunts in New Orleans. This is your director, Bill Russo, inviting you to listen to another transcribed episode, which we call The Pursuit of Death.
What do you read?
Hi, Charlie.
Oh, hi, Mr. Shayne.
Got the 5-star?
Hot off the press.
Here you are.
Ah, thanks. What?
Hey, take a look at Dream Girl, Charlie. You know, when you grow up...
Yeah. But she looks like she's asleep on her feet. Hey, paper lady!
What?
I said paper lady.
Don't do that. Don't talk behind my back. In back of me.
Okay, lady. Boy, she must have had a bad dream.
No, Charlie, it isn't sleep in her eyes. It's fear.
Hey, look out, lady! Hey, you...
What are you trying to do? Get yourself killed? Or haven't you heard it's bad to walk in front of traffic?
Somebody pushed me. I'm behind, didn't you see?
Nobody pushed you, lady.
I told you I was pushed. I was just walking. I didn't want to cross the street. Somebody pushed me.
Okay. Somebody pushed you. You feel better now?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Oh, good. And I'll...
No, don't let go. Hold my arm.
Oh. Is that tight enough?
I suppose I sound silly. Now, for the first time in weeks, I feel... Who are you?
Mike Shayne, private detective. One of my hobbies, keeping beautiful women from crawling under cars.
You're solid, dependable. I need something solid. Did you say private detective?
Yeah, from year to year. They issue the license down at City Hall.
I need you.
Sure, lady. Now, why don't you take it easy, huh? You'll break up if you keep on like this.
I want you to do something for me.
Yeah, like what?
I want to hire you to protect me.
Mm-hmm. From what?
From being followed all the time. Find out who's following me, catch him, make him stop. He's driving me crazy.
Look, lady, did you ever think of going to a doctor? Maybe you're just imagining things. That business with the pushing.
No.
Oh, no. Wait a minute, honey.
He's waiting and waiting for a chance to kill me.
In a moment, we'll return to the New Adventures of Michael Shayne and the Pursuit of Death.
It had been a particularly dull day. Even the weather had been dull, with heavy clouds hanging over the city. New Orleans gets days like that. They make you sleepy. I quit the office at 5 and stopped on the corner to buy my paper from Charlie, the newsboy. Then this Joan Crawford type got in the way of a car and would have been hit if I hadn't hauled her back onto the sidewalk. She must have gone for my daring do because she hired me on the spot. Yeah, to protect her. She thought somebody was trying to kill her. I was in no position to argue with someone holding 20 a day under my nose, so I started to drive her home. I found out her name, Shirley Kernan, but she wasn't in a talking mood, so I just let her relax. She put her head against the back of the seat and closed her eyes. 15 minutes later, when I pulled up in front of the house, her eyes were still closed.
Please, don't move.
Don't you want to go in?
I'd like to just sit here for a minute. I haven't felt quiet and restful like this for a long time.
My day started at 5. I've got lots of time.
A foolish woman, afraid of shadows.
Yeah, there are shadows and shadows in New Orleans.
You can't imagine what it's like. All the time, day and night, with the feeling that someone is following me. Right behind my shoulder, all the time.
You, talked it over with your husband?
How did you... Oh, my ring. He's away on a business trip.
Well, if you want me to earn that 20 a day, you better give me something to go on.
That's what makes it hard, Mr. Shayne. It's a feeling. I've tried to fight it myself, but I can't. It's there, all the time, someone right behind me.
You said he's trying to kill you.
Once it was a car, a small convertible. At night, I stepped off the curb and this car started towards me. I jumped back just in time.
Recognize the car?
Johnny Terrence.
A friend.
A friend of my husband's. But he hates me. Johnny's always hated me.
You think he's the guy, then?
If anybody I know is responsible, he must be the one.
Well, I can have a talk with him.
I don't know. Right now, I feel secure. Relaxed.
Because I'm here? Oh, it's a switch.
I can't fight this thing alone.
Shirley! Been wondering where you were.
Hello, Ralph. Michael Shayne, Ralph Pierce.
How do you do?
Mr. Shayne's a detective, Ralph.
Here we go again.
Oh, the cat! The cat! Make it
Now,
stop!
Shirley, take
The
it
cat's
easy.
just after the bird, Mrs. Kernan.
Stalking it, creeping up on
There, the bird flew away.
Does this happen often, Mrs.
I
Kernan?
can't stand it. Creeping. Just
Mr. Shayne, would you wait here just a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Come, my dear, I want to talk to Mr. Shayne. You wait for me in the house. Mr. Shayne, you are a detective?
That's what the lady said.
I presume you are to investigate Shirley's hallucination.
Right again, Mr. Pierce.
I'd like to help you.
Yeah, you look like you're bubbling over with good intentions.
What I mean is save you trouble.
Oh.
You see, Mrs. Kernan is subject to mental aberrations.
There must be an easier word.
This pursuit phobia, it's all mental, like a too vivid imagination. Like a hypochondriac who knows there's nothing wrong with him, but still feels aches and pains.
Nobody's following her.
Nobody.
Nobody's trying to kill her.
Absolutely not.
Well, you know, before that cat and bird affair, I had the same opinion. But it must be nice to be as positive as you are about something.
I know, Mr. Shayne.
That's what I said. You see, I'm new here. I just started to work. How do you fit in?
I'm a friend of Shirley's.
And this Johnny Terrence, he's a friend of her husband.
That's right.
I just want to get it all straight in my mind. Now, what does his husband think of your being a friend of Shirley's?
Mr. Shayne, I've been trying to help you.
Yeah, just the way I thought you would.
I could get to dislike you, Shayne.
Well, you work on it, Pierce. With a little effort, I'm sure you could get to hate me. Like I said, if it wasn't for that cat and bird business, I'd have probably washed it off quick, charged the 20 to experience, and gone home. But when I got finished talking to Pierce, it gave me ideas. Maybe somebody was trying to drive her crazy. Maybe Pierce. Maybe her husband. Maybe this Johnny Terrence had some answers. Wouldn't hurt to find out. Now, Mr. Terrence was home when I got there, getting ready to go out. The playboy type.
Got a heavy date, Mr. Shayne. What can I do for you?
Information, Mr. Terrence.
About what?
Shirley Kernan.
Oh? I'm sorry. I'm much too much in a hurry.
I understand you're a friend of her husband's.
Stan and I were very good friends once. Were. She fixed that.
Well, she doesn't like you either.
And that's a compliment. You'll pardon me now?
She's in a pretty bad way. I'm trying to help her.
Go right ahead.
Well, what can you tell me about Shirley?
Nothing.
Look, Johnny boy, I'm trying to be nice. It's tough, but I'm trying. You been following her?
That what you wanted to ask me?
One of the things.
Really, Mr. Shayne, I'm late now for an engagement.
You'd be real sorry if something happened to her, wouldn't you, Terrence?
Oh, it would break my heart.
Oh, real sweet guy. Heart of gold.
Goodbye, Mr. Shayne.
I should learn to control my temper. What is there about your kind of guy that riles me?
Do I have to use force to get you to leave?
You know, it'd be a pleasure.
All right, Shayne.
That's a sucker punch. Leading with your right. Didn't they ever teach you that at prep school?
Get out! Get out!
Yeah, sure. You know, I feel better. Yes, sir, I feel much better. These lounge lizards are all cut from the same pattern. You want to hit them the minute you see the supercilious grin on their faces. I was happy this one gave me the opportunity. But I got the feeling there was another side to this guy. His hate on Shirley Kernan went deep and smoldered steady. There was too much parlor stuff. Pierce was oily and Terrence was full of hate. The air was loaded with unspoken things and bitter feelings. Shirley Kernan was right at the core of it, too. Maybe something I wasn't paying enough attention to was her husband. If I was a traveling salesman who wanted to drive my wife crazy, I'd sure do it while I was supposed to be on the road. Well, I kicked it around in my head as I drove toward town. I wasn't going very fast when I noticed a big black sedan come roaring up to pass me. I eased over to the right to give him plenty of room, but he wanted more. I eased over until I was practically scraping the paint off the guardrail that protected the highway from a 30-foot drop. I thought this guy must be 3 sheets to the wind, and then he really came at me. My car suddenly started to rumble. I tried to fight the wheel and get a look at the guy in the sedan, but I couldn't do both. I couldn't even do one. The guardrail splintered like matchsticks, and the steering wheel jumped out of my hands. I felt the car go up on its nose, poised for a second like a graceful elephant. Sometimes I get a head full of sense. I ducked. The rear end won the toss, so we started downhill, bouncing and rolling and twisting. I hung on and just hoped. I kept bouncing around and hitting the side so often and so hard I felt like a speed into a handball in a hot 4-wall game. I caught a flash of a big tree. And then everything stopped. Except that crazy front wheel spinning uselessly in the air. Spinning and spinning. Then the Sandman came, and I got very tired and closed my eyes.
In a moment, we'll return to the new adventures of Michael Shayne and the pursuit of death.
My first reaction to Shirley Kernan's hysterical fear about someone following her all the time and waiting to pounce on her was that she needed a doctor, not a private detective. But a couple of things happened that made me curious. First, there was this thing with the cat and the bird that almost made her go off the deep end. And then Ralph Pierce, her friend, tried to ease me out. And the parlor punk Johnny Terrence seemed to have some secrets, too. Finally, I got into an argument with a black sedan and lost the argument. My car went through the guardrail and over, and then I passed out. When I came to, the front wheel was in the air, still turning lazily like a ballerina ending a pirouette, so I knew I hadn't been out very long. Then a door was pulled open, and I saw a lot of sky, and Pierce's head right in the middle of it.
Why, Mr. Shayne, what happened? I was driving along, and I saw you.
Hello, Pierce. You just happened along, huh?
Why, yes. I was driving along, saw this car down here. I had no idea it was yours.
Yeah, it's quite a coincidence.
Yes, here. Let me give you a hand.
Yeah, thanks.
Can you walk all right?
Yeah, I guess so. No broken bones. At least no important ones.
Do you have many enemies, Mr. Shayne?
Whoever took me on this joyride wasn't a friend, Pierce.
I'll take you to town in my car. You can call for a toll car at the first gas station.
My insurance company's sure gonna hate me.
You know, Mr. Shayne, what I was telling you before about Mrs. Kernan, perhaps I was wrong.
Think so, huh?
I still don't believe Shirley's suffering from anything but delusions. But whoever did this to you perhaps was meant as a warning.
To mind my own business?
Yes.
The sort of thing happens to be my business.
Certainly the money she's paying you can't compensate for bodily danger.
Maybe not, but... Is that your car, Mr. Pierce?
Yes.
Black sedan. Right fender scraped and dimpled. You know, the car that pushed me over is a dead ringer for yours.
As you said before, quite a coincidence, isn't it?
You seem to be quite a boy for coincidences. You see this bump on my jaw where it hit the dashboard?
Yes.
Well, here comes another coincidence.
You'll regret this.
Now, later. I'm too busy now. If you want to ride back to town, the tow car will be coming back in a while. Why don't you wait, Mr. Pierce? Pierce's car purred like a contented tiger. I figured I'd stop at my office, clean up a bit, and get my 38 before I went any further on this case. I parked in front of my building and went up to the office. With my hand on the doorknob, I had a feeling. Not bad, but maybe just a little uneasy. I threw the door open and stepped aside. Nothing happened. Craned my neck and took a look. There was a man sitting in my client chair, the one with springs. At least I think it was a man. He had a turban on his head and flowing robes that covered his feet. His skin was dark, and very white teeth smiled at me as he went into a short commercial.
Permit me to introduce myself, Mr. Shayne. I am Remu, seer and mystic in the realm of the mind. I am a friend of Mrs. Kernan's.
Oh, not another one.
I am aware you are trying to help her.
Yeah. What can I do for you?
Perhaps I can aid you.
Perhaps. All I want to find out is whether her life is really in danger or if she just imagines her life's in danger.
Her life is in danger, but I do not believe it is from a physical source.
Nobody's trying to kill her?
No one but herself. We all contain within ourselves the seeds of our own destruction.
Yeah. No, I don't place you in this setup.
I want to help her, too.
You know John Terrence?
No, I only know that Mrs. Kernan dislikes him, and that he evidently dislikes her.
Yeah, with gusto. How about Pierce, Ralph Pierce?
A malignant person, Mr. Shayne. An evil person.
Oh?
I do not know him well. I met him only once, but I felt the evil.
It was my second meeting with him before I felt anything. And what about Shirley's husband? Would he be trying to drive her out of her mind?
Mr. Shayne.
Yeah?
These problems of the mind, they are susceptible of various interpretations. You understand, I am a friend of Mrs. Kernan.
Yeah, you said that.
I want only for her to have peace.
Go on.
There is one thing. Mrs. Kernan has always worn a necklace. Of one in particular she was fond. A heavy gold mesh necklace. For many weeks now she has ceased to wear it. I asked her about it, but she reacted strangely. I feel it is important.
Yeah? Well, what's the matter? Don't your feelings have the answer?
Oh, these problems of the mind.
And you think someone is trying to drive her out of her mind?
That explanation is much too simple, Mr. Shayne. I fear when you find the answer, it will prove to be a great deal more sinister.
It was beginning to percolate. Like a gentle little thing, Ramou's words stirred softly. Seemed to say something beyond what I actually heard. It would fit, too. It would answer all the questions. Well, it was late, almost 11 o'clock, when I parked in front of Shirley Kernan's house and went up the front steps. I could hear voices behind the door. I rang the bell.
Mr. Shayne,
Oh, what's the matter? Am I interrupting something?
No.
How about inviting me in, then?
Oh, yes. Come in.
Okay, take it easy. Well, hello, Terrence. What happened? You two kiss and make up?
This is my cue to exit. So long, Shirley.
Relax.
I'll see you some other time when the house isn't all cluttered up.
Always on the wing. Stick around, Butterfly. I want words with you.
This time you don't catch me off balance, Shayne.
Stop it, don't!
Yeah, see, you're still a sucker for that right lead. All right, what are you doing here?
What do you think he's doing here? He's trying to frighten me.
Well, Terrence?
I just wanted to find out if she'd heard from her husband. I haven't heard from Stan since he left. He usually writes.
That's all, Terrence?
Yes.
You could have telephoned for that.
I did. She refused to talk to me.
Have you heard from your husband, Mrs. Kernan?
No.
Been gone quite a long time, hasn't he? Doesn't he usually write?
Are you going to start on me now? I thought I could depend
How
on
about
you.
Pierce, Shirley? How about Pierce? Don't you depend on him?
Shut
Don't you
up!
lie and cheat, Shirley. Don't you make Stan's life miserable? No wonder he likes to go on the road, to get away from you. No wonder he doesn't write.
I hate you. You're the one behind all this. You're the one creeping behind me all the time.
Mrs. Kernan, stop
Ask
it.
him. Go on, ask him. It's here in this room, the feeling. Behind me, it's him, I tell you, evil, rotten.
You belong in a hospital.
You
Shirley.
see?
Mrs. Kernan, you used to wear a gold mesh necklace. You don't wear it anymore. Why?
No.
May I see it, please?
No, you can't. What are you trying to do to me? You're all against me. You'd all like to see me dead.
Look, Mrs. Kernan, we...
Shh. Listen.
What is it?
Do you hear it?
I don't hear a thing. You're out of
It's
your...
in this room now. It's behind me. Coming closer. Listen.
Well, whatever it is, it's not inside the room, and it's not behind you. Come in.
Well, hello, everybody.
What's the gun for, Pierce?
Just protection. Shirley, come with me.
No.
Put it away, Pierce.
I haven't forgotten our last meeting, Shayne, not one bit. Come on, Shirley.
I won't go with you. I won't.
You'll do as I say, Shirley.
You're all against me. No one cares about me.
I do, my dear.
It's here. It's here in this room, coming closer. It won't touch me. I won't let it.
Shirley! Come back here, Shirley.
You won't find me. I'll hide and be with myself, all by myself, safe.
Well, Pierce, you didn't make the grade in the big scene. As a stand-in for her husband, you're a
Scene
flop.
isn't over yet. Let's have my car keys, Shayne.
I lost
I'm in
it.
no mood to quibble about shooting you.
Say please.
Shayne.
That's better. Yeah.
Thanks. Now, if you two are wise men, you'll stay here. Everything's under control now. Let's keep it that way, without bloodshed.
I don't get this. What goes on, Shayne?
Got a car, Terrence?
Yes, outside.
You want to find out what it's all about?
Yes, but what's happened to Shirley?
Looks like we'll have the answer pretty quick. Come on, or we'll lose them. Terrence drove. He was a pretty good driver for a guy who spent most of his time steering his way around nightclub tables. We went through the downtown section faster than the law allows, keeping Pierce's car in sight. Once or twice, we spotted Shirley's coupe a few blocks ahead of Pierce. Pierce didn't know it, but he was mighty helpful. We kept on in Indian file.
They're heading out of town.
We're doing 70 and not catching up. How are the tires on this jalopy, Terrence?
Front ones are fine.
In the back?
We'll find out.
Uh-huh. Well, maybe I had you wrong, Terrence. You got guts.
Thanks, Shayne.
Come around the office sometime. Give you a few lessons in the manly art.
It's a deal if I can practice on you.
Like I said, maybe I got you wrong.
They're taking a fork to the left and slowing up.
All right, careful. We're getting too close.
Got one of the headlights.
All right, turn them off. We don't need them. Pierce's shot at us was sort of a feeble last effort in a cause he must have known was lost. When we got around the bend, Pierce's car was just pulling off the road, a few feet behind Shirley's coupe. It was a grassy place near the river. Shirley was running, her hair flying in the wind. A bright moon had cut the clouds. It was almost like twilight, sort of eerie. Pierce started out after her as we parked, and we started after them.
Shirley, come back!
She reached a sandy place on the bank and fell to her knees. Pierce got to her and started to bend down to pick her up, but he stopped halfway and just watched, sort of fascinated. And then it hit me full force. I stopped dead.
What is it, Shayne? What's she doing?
It's all over, Terrence. Nobody can help Shirley Kernan anymore.
In a moment, we'll be back with a thrilling climax to tonight's Michael Shayne adventure.
We stood there about 50 yards from the river, watched Shirley Kernan on her hands and knees at the bank of the river. I was all cold inside, sort of sick. Terrence had stopped when I did. He didn't get it.
Come on, Shayne. What are you waiting for?
All right, Terrence. Shirley's hands were in the sand when we got there. She was digging furiously and mumbling to herself.
Oh, take me,
Pierce was
take it.
quiet,
Wash
watching.
my hands and be clean again. And I'll be me again. Nobody'll be able to touch me or hurt me. I'll be me. And all alone.
Shirley, don't, my dear.
I'll handle it, Pierce. All right, Mrs. Kernan. It's all right.
I must, Dick. I must.
No, everything's all right. Nobody'll hurt you.
Nobody'll hurt me.
No. You're safe now.
Oh.
I don't get it, Shayne. I sound like a broken record, but I don't get it.
The strain was too much. Pierce can tell you. Can't you, Pierce?
Yes. Yes, it's all over now. All over.
We left Shirley's car there. She drove back to town with Terrence and me. Pierce followed. Shirley was like a child now, looking up at me with those big eyes as if I were going to protect her. Only there wasn't even fear in her eyes anymore. Just a blank kind of look that I'd never want to see again.
She's really cracked up, hasn't she?
Yeah, like Humpty Dumpty. And all the king's men can't help.
But why? What caused it?
Oh, it's simple enough. The way she lost control when she saw a cat stalking a bird on her lawn. The delusion she had of being followed, the idea someone was trying to jump on her from behind. And her gold necklace.
I know all that, but I don't...
Well, you see, she was running away. Nobody was following her.
Alone. I don't have to run anymore. I'm me, and all alone.
What was she running away
I don't
from?
have to run.
Herself.
I don't have
What?
to run.
Her conscience.
I'm me.
Pierce knew it all the time, I guess, or suspected. He was trying to protect her, but he couldn't do it. No one could.
Shayne, when I come up to your office for the first lesson in boxing, maybe you'll go into it a little more fully, huh?
Yeah, Terrence. Yeah. Sometimes you get a case you don't like. But you're in business and you take what you get. Shirley's mind had played a trick. It had forced the knowledge of her guilt into her subconscious so that she was able to forget what she'd done. But her subconscious couldn't forget. The two forces fighting each other finally snapped her mind. I guess there's always some kind of retribution, one way or another. In her case, the toughest kind. Worse than prison, or even the chair. Next morning, when the police got to the spot at the bank of the Mississippi with shovels, they found what I knew they would. The proof of Shirley's guilt. The grave of Shirley's husband, Stanley Kernan. He'd been choked to death, from behind, with a gold mesh necklace. Shirley's necklace.
This is your director, Bill Russo, again. Our story is based on characters created by Brett Halliday. The music is composed and conducted by John Duffy, and Michael Shayne is portrayed by Jeff Chandler. The New Adventures of Michael Shayne is a Don W. Sharp production, transcribed in Hollywood and distributed exclusively by the Broadcasters Guild. Next week, you'll hear Michael Shayne in another thrilling adventure from mysterious and colorful New Orleans.
For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective, created by Raymond Chandler, brought to you on the air by Pepsodent, and starring MGM's brilliant and dynamic young actor, Van Heflin. Now, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with Irium. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with the new, cool, minty flavor. Yes, in a recent test, new Pepsodent was preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. With families all over America, new Pepsodent is the favorite, 3-to-1.
Families from coast to coast recently compared new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. They preferred new Pepsodent by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over any other brand they tried. These families, 3-to-1, said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Yes, in a recent survey, families 3-to-1 said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Get new Pepsodent toothpaste for your family right away. Now, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin.
The moment old man Jeter came into my office, I made up my mind not to vote for him if he ever ran for president. He was tall and thin with straight, compressed white lips. He wore a neat pinstripe flannel suit with a small rosebud in the lapel. He carried an ebony cane, and he wore spats. He looked a smart 60, and unless his ulcers got nasty, I gave him another 15 years, which was pretty big of me. He sat down, speared me with those barbed gray eyes, and came right down to business.
Mr. Philip Marlowe, I believe?
That's right.
My name is Wadsworth Jeter.
How do you do, Mr. Jeter?
You're a private detective?
Well, why not?
Frankly, sir, I'd expected the Hollywood detective's office to be somewhat more glamorous or rather more elegant, shall we say?
Well, Philo Vance has a branch office here on the 4th floor. If you're shopping around...
No. You'll do, I'm sure.
Well, my rate is $25 a day, plus expenses.
Money is no object.
Except when you don't have much of it.
That seems to be the motivating philosophy where Miss Harriet Huntress is concerned.
Who or whom is Miss Harriet Huntress?
A rather standard, rather obvious gold digger who wishes to marry Grover.
You want to tell me who Grover is?
Grover is my adopted stepson, my late wife's son.
Go on.
Next year, he will inherit $1 million left him by his mother.
Which explains Miss Huntress's interest in Grover.
Precisely.
Look, Mr. Jeter, am I being hired to smear Miss Harriet Huntress?
Not at all. Merely to disillusion Grover about her.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing. I think you better find yourself another
Now,
boy.
Wait. There's more.
Okay, let's hear it.
Do you know a man named Marty Estelle?
Sure, he's a big-time gambler out on Sunset Strip. Why?
Mr. Estelle claims my son Grover owes him $50,000.
Well, then Grover'd better pay up if I know Marty Estelle.
But suppose my son doesn't really owe Estelle the money.
Does he or doesn't he?
Mr. Estelle supplied photostat copies of Grover's notes with Grover's signatures. I thought they might be forged, so without Grover's knowledge, I took them to a handwriting expert named John Arbogast, a sort of detective.
No?
He's not sure. He wants more time. I'd like you to take over the case.
Harriet Huntress and all.
Miss Huntress, as you may know, is associated with Mr. Estelle.
Well, that's incidental. I'll handle the forgery case and not the slander job. Now, where does this Arbogast have his office?
On Sunset near Ivar.
Okay, I'll look it up. Miss Huntress?
She lives at the El Milano on North Sycamore.
All right, I'll look her up, too. Arbogast and Huntress in the order named. There was no snooty secretary to prevent me from walking right into John D. Arbogast's extremely fat presence on Sunset near Ivar. He was an enormously fleshy gent with a thick neck that was in folds like a concertina. He wore a wrinkled dark suit that needed cleaning and some reweaving where it had some small holes in it. Arbogast just sat and stared at me with the whites of his eyes, because those 3 holes that needed reweaving were bullet holes. And John D. Arbogast was dead, very recently dead. I left in a hurry, and as far as I could tell, nobody saw me come, nobody saw me go. My next stop was the Swank El Milano Hotel on North Sycamore.
Just a second, mister. Something you want?
Yeah. Who are you?
I'm the house detective.
Well, I'm looking for a Miss Harriet Huntress.
Miss Huntress ain't seeing anyone.
You can tell her it's Marty Estelle.
Are you Marty Estelle?
I'm from him.
That's different, ain't it?
That's none of your business, is it?
Well, whatever you're up to, you're not playing it very smooth.
Well, some days I feel like playing it smooth, and some days I feel like playing it like a waffle iron. Well, if you must know, I'm one of the boys. Philip Marlowe, private eye. Here, it's my card.
Well, that's another story. I'll phone up to Miss Huntress.
Yeah, say I'm from Marty Estelle, and make it convincing, huh?
How much convincing?
Oh, well, how much do those cigars you're smoking cost you?
$22.50, box of 50.
That much convincing.
Well, that's cute. You and me are going to get along. I'll phone Miss Huntress, but you go right on up. Room 814. I just know it'll be all right.
Harriet Huntress was too tall to be cute, too beautiful to be really cheap. Her green eyes were wide set, and there was plenty of thinking room between them. Her hair was a dusky red, like fire seen through a haze. The green eyes were that much green ice as she sized me up in the doorway.
Well, what's the big message, Sonny?
I'd have to come in. I never could speak very well in public.
Come in.
Never could speak very well on a dry throat either.
There's the scotch. Help yourself.
Thank you.
So, you're from Marty Estelle?
No, not strictly, not even loosely. Not at all, in fact.
What's your racket?
No racket.
Marty will love to know you used his name.
I'm shaking in my shoes.
You're some kind of detective, aren't you?
Yeah, right. Philip Marlowe. Hey, it's good scotch here.
I'm glad you like it. Now, what's your business?
All right. How much will you take to give up Grover?
You look smart, but you talk stupid.
Old man Jeter's pretty tough. His idea is that you get nothing. You get smeared. I don't see it that way. How much?
How about $50,000?
How about $500?
How about talking about the effect of the rain on the rhubarb?
Now, look, sister. Suppose we skip the footwork, considering the sobering fact that a man named John D. Arbogast has already been murdered in this little case.
Does that have anything to do with me?
I don't know. He was hired to analyze some notes Grover gave Marty Estelle. He was killed just after I took over the case.
Do you think Marty Estelle works that way?
You know him better than I do, does he?
Have you told the police yet?
No, I thought I'd see if I could make a deal with you first.
I'm going to tell you something. My people were nice people who never got involved in murders. Old Jeter ruined my father. My dad shot himself and my mother died of the shock. I'm going to fix Jeter for that someday, even if I have to marry his son to do it.
Adopted stepson, really. There's no relation at all.
It'll hurt Jeter just as hard. And the kid will have $1 million next year. I could do worse, even if he does drink too much.
You wouldn't want Grover to hear that now, would you?
No? Turn around and have a look, Gumshoe.
I turned fast. He stood about 4 feet from me. Big, blonde, powerful. Whiskey in his brain and blood in his eyes.
I can say anything I want around Grover. It's all right with him. Isn't it, Grover?
That's right, Harry.
He's trying to break us up, Grover. What do you think of that?
I think maybe I better break him up. That's what I think of that.
She laughed, and that made me mad. I turned to glower at her. It was a dirty look. It was the look of the month. That was a mistake. The big guy hit me. I went over sideways. It wasn't a hard punch, but my head hit a desk going down, and the desk got the decision. It gets dark fast in Southern California, but seldom that fast. When I came out of it, Grover, the blonde sucker puncher, and Harriet Huntress were gone. But the bottle of scotch was still there, so I took that for a souvenir and stuffed it in my pocket and floated down the elevator into the street. It was dark by the time I got back to my apartment on Hobart Avenue in Hollywood. I turned on the light, and there stood a big guy, another big guy. This was National Big Guy Week. This one had a big nose, the dead color of wax, and he had a .22 caliber Colt Woodsman pointed straight at me.
Close the door and reach. Come on.
I turned a little to close the door. I got my hand under my coat. Then I turned back to Waxnose fast. I had my Luger out. We stood there facing each other. Waxnose didn't seem at all impressed with my automatic.
I just came to tell you to be smart.
You're looking at a Luger, mister.
I know. Men of distinction carry Lugers. Me, I pack this small bore because I can shoot. If you think you can take me, go to it.
Look, what's the game?
Maybe you can take a hint, and maybe you can't.
Maybe, maybe not. What is it?
Lay off old Jeter's boy.
Well, I wouldn't think of contradicting. Anyone who uses a Colt Woodsman .22 with the front sight filed off must think he's pretty good.
I am good.
Yeah, and that's why I say, okay, pal.
We'll see.
Speaking of .22s, do you know anybody named John Arbogast?
I meet such a lot of people.
Well, this one was fat and shot 3 times with a .22.
I don't remember shooting no fat guys today. So long, chum. Remember what I told you. Lay off Grover. So long, chum.
Yeah. Swell. Oh, shut up. Yeah.
Mr. Marlowe?
Oh, Mr. Jeter. Well, your son or your adopted son or your stepson or whatever he is poked me in the jaw today.
He is both my stepson and my adopted son.
Well, both of them poked me in the jaw.
My word, where?
In Miss Huntress's apartment.
You spoke to her? What did she say?
She wants $50,000 and no dice. I offered her $500, just as a gag.
Just as a gag? Mr. Marlowe, perhaps you underestimate the importance of this matter to me.
Listen, Mr. Jeter, there are some very unusual angles to this case. For example, a gunman just stuck me up in my own apartment and told me to stay off of this case.
What?
I don't see why this case should get so tough.
Good heavens. Listen, Mr. Marlowe, my chauffeur, Waldo, will pick you up in my limousine. I want to talk to you.
All right. Well, tell Waldo to park on Hobart facing Franklin.
He'll be around for you in 20 minutes.
Good. Just give me time to drink my dinner. Bye-bye. Next to Waldo, the chauffeur, as he tooled the big Jeter limousine through Hollywood, along the glitter of the Sunset Strip, out past Beverly Hills toward Bel Air. At Cavello Drive, we swung left for a couple of 100 yards, then left again, aiming for a driveway flanked by 12-foot wrought iron gates. Then something happened. Someone was standing in the glare of our headlights. Waldo swore and slammed on the brake shelf.
You stupid! Go and get out of the driveway!
The man stepped toward us. And the next minute, there was that same Colt 22 staring into my face again.
All right, this is a heist. Get out of the car, both of you.
Look, Waxnose, haven't you had enough fun for one night?
Buzz off, bum. Shut up and get out.
I'd have to think some more on that, Buster.
I'm warning you. I'll let you have it.
Don't be a goal, you're going.
All right, you asked for it.
Hey!
Holy. You shot the guy.
Yeah. I shot him. With this. All in fun.
Yeah, some fun.
It did the work. Jeter's house is right ahead.
You sound as if you just shot a nickel in a pinball machine instead of a man. Now listen, turn off those lights and let's get out of here, but fast.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Yes, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with invigorating Irium foam. New fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. In a recent test, New Pepsodent was preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. Families all over America say New Pepsodent is their favorite, 3-to-1.
The William Kilpatrick family, 212 South Missouri, Claremore, Oklahoma, preferred New Pepsodent on every single count. The Kilpatricks say New Pepsodent tastes best of all, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter. On all these counts, by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1, families prefer New Pepsodent over any other toothpaste they tried.
It's a fact. Families 3-to-1 say New Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter.
Remember, this is not just our opinion. It's the honest conviction of the Kilpatricks and other families who were asked to compare New Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. Get New Pepsodent, the only toothpaste containing Irium. Get it for your family without delay. We continue with The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin, who appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of The Romance of Rosie Ridge, starring Van Johnson.
Waldo and I drove back to my apartment again, leaving Waxnose lying dead in the Jeter driveway. We went back to my place to start all over again, over what was left of my purloined scotch.
Yeah, this is good scotch you've got here, Marlowe.
Inch bottle.
Not this.
Sure. Fenched it from the apartment of Harriet Huntress.
Well, bottoms up.
Waldo, do you think that gunman was there to scare young Grover into realizing Marty Estelle means business?
Could be. I always drove Grover home around that time.
It just doesn't sound like Marty Estelle to pick that sort of a helper.
Well, sure. Maybe that's why he picked him. Because it didn't seem like Marty Estelle.
Yeah. That's good thinking, Waldo.
Dartmouth, 37. Rah, rah, rah.
That would be either the cops or Mr. Jeter. Hello.
Mr. Marlowe?
Yes, Mr. Jeter. And the reason we're not in your study now is lying outside of your front gate.
What's that you're saying?
Somebody jumped us outside of your gate and Waldo shot him dead.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Listen, Marlowe, come here at once. Do you hear? At once.
I'll send Waldo, Mr. Jeter.
I want to see you.
Waldo will tell you all about it, Mr. Jeter.
Marlowe.
Good night, Mr. Jeter. After Waldo, the chauffeur, had left, I went back to the El Milano Hotel. Hawkins, the house stick, was all smiles and open palms. I placed no confidence in his smile and a $20 bill in his palm.
Harriet Huntress again? What's the matter?
Just take me up to her apartment, that's all, huh?
Yeah, sure. Right this way, fella.
Hawkins took me to the 8th floor, room 814, and opened the door. There was someone in the room, waiting.
Here's company for you, Mr. Estelle.
Beat it, Hawkins.
Yeah, this is the guy I was telling you about, Mr. Estelle. Come in earlier today. Said he was from you.
Beat it, I said.
Oh, sure. Come on in, Marlowe.
I came to see Miss Huntress, not you, Estelle.
Well, first of all, Harriet's not home. I came to tell her what happened outside of Jeter's gate.
So you keep informed.
I can't wait for her any longer. Got to get back to the casino. Well, then, what did you come back for, Marlowe?
I'm looking for the Jeter boy. After what happened to him tonight, he needs somebody to walk behind him.
You think I'd play games like that?
All I know is we were shot at.
I asked you a question.
I answered it to the best of my knowledge.
What knowledge, for example?
Well, for example, you hold $50,000 worth of Grover's notes for gambling debts.
I've got $50,000 invested in the kid. Would I be likely to bump him off?
Ah. That makes sense, all right.
I always make sense.
Oh, bully for you.
When I have $50,000 invested in a guy, I'm apt to find out all about him. Like about old Jeter hiring a man named Arbogast to work for him. Arbogast was shot today. You know it. I know because I had you followed. You didn't tell the law, Marlowe. That could be very hard on you.
Well, it could.
Does that make you and me friends?
A little blackmail, huh?
Not much.
We'll call it tattletale grail mail.
From now on, do you stop bothering Miss Huntress?
Okay, you win, Marty.
Swell. That's all. I've got to go.
Well, I'll just wait around for a bit, okay?
Well, Harriet's scotch is in that cabinet there.
Thanks. I'll roll up my pants and go waiting in it.
You know, Marlowe, I like you. You're cute. So long, Chavez.
Marty Estelle was right. He wouldn't kill anybody who owed him money and was soon to come into a lot of it. Now I was in bed with the police for not reporting Arbogast's murder. Well, I looked around Harriet's apartment vaguely, walked into the bedroom, and stopped. Because mixed with the fragrance of good perfume and good cosmetics was the plain, ordinary, homespun odor of gunpowder. I walked across the room and yanked open the closet door and stepped back. There, just as big as life, but as dead as they ever come, was young Grover Jeter. And at Grover's feet, among the graceful shoes in Harriet's closet, was a tiny pearl-handled automatic. I felt bad about that, because I guessed that the dainty holes, the bullets from that dainty gun, would fit the two dainty holes over Grover's heart. I put the neat little pistol in my pocket. I thought old man Jeter ought to know about his son, I thought. I didn't expect to find Waldo, the chauffeur, and Harriet Huntress with old Jeter in Jeter's big study, but there they were.
Why, Mr. Marlowe, I'd about given up hoping to see you tonight.
Well, I changed my mind about coming out again, Mr. Jeter. Oh, Waldo?
Hi, Marlowe.
Didn't expect to see you here, Miss Huntress.
Didn't you?
Did you expect to see me here?
Never mind that, Marlowe. I want to know where my son is.
What do you mean, Mr. Jeter?
He's missing. That's what I mean.
Oh.
He's missing, and no one knows where he is.
I know.
Eh?
What's that?
Where, Marlowe?
Miss Huntress, where did you and Grover go after Grover took that sucker punch at me in your apartment?
We went out together in a taxi. During the ride, I had a change of heart. I didn't want Grover or Grover's money. I told Grover to find another playmate, and I got out in Beverly Hills. Grover went on in the taxi.
And where did you go?
Back to my apartment. Later, I got out my car to come down here and tell Mr. Jeter I decided to forget the whole thing. And for him to call off his dime novel, Salute.
A dime will no longer buy a novel of any description, but that is beside the point.
You said you knew where Grover is. That's not beside the point, is it, Mr. Marlowe?
He's back in Harriet's apartment.
Well, I didn't let him in. How on earth could he be?
Hawkins, your house detective, let him in. The last I saw of Grover, he's dead.
Oh, what? What's that?
Dead. Dead, shot with a small caliber gun.
I can't believe it. I can't. It's
dead?
Miss Huntress, this .25 caliber pistol was on the floor at Grover's feet. Here, take it. Look it over, will you?
It's mine.
You murderess.
I'm not.
You cold-blooded murderess.
Oh, stop that!
Stop it, both of you. It could have been suicide.
Suicide? Well, yes, that's a possibility, of course.
I see you like that idea, Jeter. But it wasn't suicide.
Then she did it. The murderess, the scheming, contemptible
It was murder, and it's fairly obvious who did it, Jeter.
Marty Estelle is my guess.
Well, guess again, Waldo. Estelle had $50,000 invested in Grover. He wouldn't kill a golden goose like that. And Waxnose didn't do it because he was dead, thanks to Waldo here.
That leaves her. She did it.
There had to be a motive and an opportunity.
Well, it was her apartment after all.
Correct, Waldo. But Grover was Jeter's adopted stepson.
Oh, like a real son he was to me. A real son.
Yeah. But did you lovely people know that in the state of California, a man can inherit from an adopted son who has money and who gets dead? Did you know that, Mr. Jeter?
Why, what do you mean?
Your inheriting Grover's $1 million would be a motive for killing him, wouldn't it?
Mr. Marlowe.
That was the motive, Jeter, and it was Waldo's job to find the opportunity to murder Grover for you.
All right, Marlowe. That'll be all for you.
Well, Waldo, the Dartmouth gun fanner, huh?
Drop that gun, Waldo.
Shut up.
I said drop it. Drop it.
Hey, that's nice shooting, Harriet.
My hand.
Well, Papa will put a little Band-Aid on for you, Waldo.
Waldo, you could have gotten into my apartment wearing that chauffeur's uniform. You could have gone in through the garage entrance and up the back way.
Sure. When Grover let him in, he backed Grover into the room with his gun, but he shot him with yours. How much was Jeter going to pay you for this job, Waldo?
Don't talk, Waldo. He's bluffing.
You're telling me he's bluffing.
Nice kids, these college boys. Tell me, was it Dartmouth or Dannemora, Waldo?
Shut up, copper.
You killed John Arbogast to throw suspicion on Marty Estelle. Then you hired Waxnose to fake a holdup on Grover. Why? Again to throw suspicion on Marty Estelle. To make it look as though Estelle was trying to scare Grover into paying his gambling debts.
If I hired Waxnose, why would I have shot him tonight?
Because you like to kill people, Waldo. When I was brought out here tonight, Waxnose thought I was Grover in the car. He began to fake his holdup. But you just couldn't resist taking one of your snappy snapshots at Waxnose, could you, Waldo?
Shut up.
Could you? Next, Mr. Wadsworth Jeter.
Look here, Marlowe. You can't accuse me of... Doctor.
He's sick.
Call a doctor.
It's his heart. If Jeter dies, it's your fault, Marlowe.
Okay, Waldo. Tell you what I'll do, Waldo. If Jeter dies, he doesn't have to pay me my fee. We're even. Okay, Waldo? Harriet Angel, listen, go call the doctor. And while you're there, call the law, huh? Jeter didn't die. His heart was as good as mine, if you want to make anything out of that. The law had Jeter and Waldo cold, and I mean cold. Me? Well, I went out a couple of times with Harriet, as I sat home with her a couple of times drinking her scotch. It was nice, all right, but I didn't have the money or the clothes or the manners. Still, I was sorry when she went to New York to live. She had absolutely the best scotch I ever tasted. Maybe because it was free. I don't know.
You have just heard Van Heflin, starring in the mystery series Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Van Heflin will return in just a moment. Have you tasted the new Pepsodent toothpaste? Its lingering, minty flavor is so fresh and inviting, families prefer it by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste they tried. In a recent nationwide test, these families said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter. Remember, new Pepsodent gives you more invigorating irium foam. It sweeps dulling film away. No wonder it's the 3-to-1 favorite with families all over America. Get new Pepsodent with irium for your family right away. Now, here is our star, Van Heflin.
The need for food in Europe tonight is desperate. Starvation faces a multitude of our fellow men. There's a way you can help. For $10, a package containing 21.5 pounds of food will be sent for you to a friend or a relative or any member of an organization you designate in Europe. Or simply say to a little French girl or to a Belgian war widow. Your order will be strictly respected, and you'll receive a signed receipt from the person who received your gift. Send $10 now. Send all you can. Send your $10 to CARE. C-A-R-E. CARE, New York. Help keep America the hope of the world.
Now, story was adapted by Milton Geiger from the story Trouble Is My Business by Raymond Chandler, creator of Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective. The original music was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. This is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at this same time to another exciting mystery on the adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with a distinguished cast.
NBC, the national broadcasting company.
Hello, Candy Matson.
I understand you've been hired to find out who knocked off Donna Dunham.
Abrupt and right to the point. That's my business, old man who talks like a ghost.
Take care of your health, little lady. Donna Dunham is dead. Let her stay like that.
You take care of your Q's and I'll show my P's, understood?
Not quite. Listen to this.
Oh, goody, goody. Bullets now delivered by phone. Thanks for the slug. I'll have it identified later.
Maybe you'll be identified later. Remember what I said, Candy Matson. Forget about Donna Dunham.
My name is Candy Matson. I like money, lots of it. That's why I became a private eye. And true, you meet such interesting people. Mostly dead. But getting back to the cash angle, that's why I took on the Donna Dunham case. I knew it was full of dynamite. But a girl has to eat now and then, maintain a penthouse on Telegraph Hill, and keep the moths out of a few mink coats. Doesn't she? Sure. And a shot fired into your room from across the street at 3 a.m. is just one of those occupational hazards. So I took the job and the 500 and went to work. Like to hear how the whole thing started? Well, leave us proceed to Act 1. I'd had a hard day at the office, sleeping all day, and I needed a bit of a tonic to pick me up. So the natural thing to do was to ground loop into the marigold room and see what could be done. As I sank down onto one of the padded stools, the dispenser approached. Make it a martini, my good man, very dry. So dry it comes out like a blotter.
Look, lady, nothing would give me more pleasure, but I can't serve you here unless you have an escort.
What? Oh, I'm waiting for someone.
That's what they all say.
But he'll be here very soon.
I know. It never fails.
Why, you low-minded cronk. For 2 cents, I'd knock
I
your...
arrived just in time. Save your 2 cents, my dear.
Huh?
You heard what the lady said? A martini. Make it 2.
Yeah. Sure. I thought it was just another one of those, 2 martinis.
Well, saved from a fate worse than death, Miss Matson.
Who are you?
A natural question.
And I'd like a natural answer.
Roberts is my name. Warren Roberts.
Oh.
I own a few steamships hither and yon about the world.
Oh, yes, I know. I took a trip on one of your scows once. The food was a nightmare's nightmare.
How do you think I came to be a millionaire?
Aha, I see your point. How did you know my name, and what do you want?
I have a business proposition to make to you, Miss Matson.
You're sure it's business, Mr. Roberts?
Strictly business, Miss Matson.
Call me Candy. You tell me the details, and I'll tell you what it'll cost you.
Fair enough.
But don't faint. You can always make it back on your food.
Well, I can hardly tell you here. Suppose we drop over to my place.
But I want that martini.
My man will make us a batch over there.
Oh, the things I do to make a living. Okay, let's go.
Hey, how about these drinks?
Here you are, my man, and save the martinis for some poor wayward soul who hasn't the wherewithal to make the purchase.
Oh,
evening, Mr. Roberts. I didn't know you were expecting company so soon after...
Take Miss Matson's things, Montgomery, and bring her some martinis.
They're all made, sir.
Good. Let's go into the drawing room, shall we?
Mm-hmm. Modest little mousetrap, isn't it? And I'll bet it's had a good path beaten to its door, too.
Quite a sense of humor you have, Candy.
Well, it helps now and then.
Here, sit down here. That's it.
I can't quite see you. It's like being behind a retaining wall. Oh, well, I'll just listen. What's the topic of conversation?
A young lady named Donna Dunham.
The female element. What is your connection?
Much strictly that of a patron.
Oh?
Miss Dunham was a hat-check girl over at the Scarlet Dawn. I heard her sing one night. I decided right then and there that I was going to sponsor her career.
Was?
Yes. Donna Dunham was murdered early this morning.
By you?
What? Are you out of your head?
Yes, when I think of the fee I'm going to get from you.
I beg your pardon, sir. The martinis.
What? Oh, yes. Put them down there, Montgomery.
Yes.
Very good, Montgomery. I won't need anything else tonight.
Thank you, sir. Good night, miss.
Good night. Don't sleep too tight.
May I?
You certainly may. I've been waiting far too long for one of these.
There you are.
Thanks. Well, as a sponsor, you didn't pick a protege with great lasting qualities, did you?
No, I didn't. She was so young, so very lovely. Will you take the case, Miss Matson?
What do I have to go on?
Oh, very little. Well, my suspicions point to a musician who worked at the Scarlet Dawn. He seemed to resent very strongly my stepping into the picture.
Were they going together?
Off and on, until I started to back Donna's career.
A very interesting triangle. What do the police have to say?
The police, Miss Matson, have not yet been notified.
What?
I went over there this morning, and I discovered the body lying on the floor. I became confused. I locked the door and called the Scarlet Dawn. I told the manager that Miss Dunham was quite ill and wouldn't be able to appear tonight.
Extremely ill, I'd say. Wow. This is fine. You realize you're in trouble, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And that if I take this case, I'm sticking my neck out, too?
Exactly.
My fee is $500.
That's a fair price.
In advance.
Well, I'll make out a check immediately. Oh. Won't you have another martini?
I don't think so.
You know, you are very beautiful.
Thank you. But I already have a sponsor.
And your lips are very, very kissable.
The best you can buy from Max Factors.
Are you sure you don't want another martini?
Look, Roberts, let's get this straight. You're in the middle of a jackpot. Make that check out right now so I can join you. Then it's up to me to spring the both of us. In the meantime, get that glint out of your eye. The one that's wired for wolf calls. Understood?
Very well.
I'll get started right away. Where does the late Miss Dunham live?
Just on the edge of Chinatown, 27B Gresham Alley. It's the only three-flat house on the block.
I'll find it. And you just stick right here and don't poke your face out of the door. Now, the check, if you will. Now listen, you, if you think you're going to get... Well, send me back to the last line in the chorus, if it isn't old Hawkshaw himself.
Yeah, that's right. Hiya, Candy.
Now, how you ever got to be a police detective, I'll never know. I heard you trailing me for the last 2 blocks.
Maybe I wanted you to hear me. What are you doing over in Chinatown, Candy?
I like tomato chow yuck.
Uh-huh. Something up?
Not with you around, there isn't.
Look, Candy, just a little word of caution. We're laying for you.
Oh,
The chief isn't very happy about you busting up that Newton case last month.
somebody had to. The score was still tied in the 27th inning.
Stop gagging, Candy. What are you doing around here? You don't like tomato chow yuck that much.
Well, maybe that Oriental music sends me. By the way, where's the Scarlet Dawn, Mallard?
Huh? Right down there on the corner.
Come on. I'll buy you a double Mickey.
No, thanks. I just had one. And listen, Candy, take a tip. Don't interfere with the work of the police.
Don't worry about me, Mallard. And you take a tip, too. Next time you trail somebody, get yourself a pair of tennis shoes.
Yes, miss. You like a table?
No, thanks. No.
Something I can do?
Hmm? Oh, yes, I'm a friend of Donna Dunham's. She wanted me to come over and tell you that she's feeling better. She'll be back at work tomorrow night.
Well, that's good. Business at the hot chick stand no good without her.
Yeah. Yes, she's a great girl. By the way, I don't see her boyfriend tonight.
Boyfriend?
You know, the fellow who plays in the band.
Oh, Donnie Andrini. No, he got night off.
Oh, too bad. She wanted me to tell him, too.
Yep, too bad. Oh, maybe you'll find him at the Lotus Hotel. He lived there.
Oh, sure. The Lotus. Yes, I'll check there, and thank you very much.
Rembrandt Watson speaking.
Yes, I know. Now, look.
Photographs taken at reasonable prices.
I know, Rembrandt.
Family groups and portraits especially. Also,
Rembrandt, this is I, Candy Matson.
fine colored pictures. What? Candy Matson?
That's right.
By all the furies of Zeus. Why did you have to call just now? I was wooing the muse that only Bacchus can create, probing the infinitesimal heights a soul can reach from the tear of the grape. And you have to call and spoil it all.
Look, Rembrandt, uncross your eyes and listen to me.
I shall listen, my Lily, but undoubtedly I won't like it. What skullduggery are you up to now?
I'm knee-deep in something that smells as high as the Oakland mudflats.
A towering comparison. What is it?
I can't tell you now, but I want you to do me a favor. Get your finest camera and go over to 27B Gresham Alley. Get inside and take all the pictures you can of the place.
Won't I be intruding?
No. There's a very attractive young lady there.
Ah, delightful.
She's dead.
How dull. I dislike intensely one-sided conversations. All right. What do I do then?
Go back to your place and get me some prints as fast as you can.
I go, but not willingly. Only for you would I forsake the mood I have achieved through prodigious application.
Bully for you, laddie buck. I'll see you at your place in about an hour. Pardon me. Are you the night clerk?
I ain't sitting bull. Yes, we have no rooms.
I'm not here for a room.
Oh? Well, maybe there's something I can do for you.
Yes. Could you tell me if Mr. Danny Andrini is in?
No, he isn't. Matter of fact, I haven't seen him all day.
Yes, I know. There's a reason. We had to take him to the hospital this morning.
What?
Yes. He's under observation for appendicitis.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So, I was wondering if you'd let me have his key.
Huh?
He wants me to bring him his portable radio.
Oh, does he have one?
Why, sir, did you ever know a musician who didn't own a portable radio?
I know, come to think of it. Yeah, here's the key. It's room 418.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right, Candy Matson, start making like a private eye. Letters. Yes, over here. Promising. A whole pile of. Well, let's try this one. Dear Danny, I don't know how to start this, but your accusations last night need some sort of answering. I'm not in love with Warren Roberts and never will be. He's just proving to be a very kind and gracious friend. You must realize that I have placed my singing career above everything else, and I want to... Well, leave us confront the issue, Candy. Oh. Hello, you.
Hello. I was wondering if I could be of any assistance.
Oh, no, it seems Mr. Andrini was out of his head. I mean, he doesn't seem to have a portable radio.
Oh.
I'll just be on my way.
Oh, now what's the rush? You don't have to leave right away. Wouldn't you like a drink or something?
No, not right now. I am pressed for time.
Oh.
I tell you what, though.
Huh.
I'll be back later. How's that?
Sure. Fine. When?
Let's make it next Whitsuntide, huh? Goodbye.
On my soul, I'd like to have the popcorn concession here tonight. Come in, come in.
Rembrandt, you're a double-crosser.
A double-crosser? My
Yes.
dear, you're mistaken.
Oh?
The only time I double-crossed was out in the country. I passed over a bridge, then I had to double-cross back.
Oh, no.
I found I'd left my knapsack with some rare vintage in it on the other side.
What are you doing here? You haven't had time to get the pictures I wanted.
That's just the point. To elucidate, I arrived at 27B Gresham Alley and found it to be a most loathsome location.
That's beside the point. What happened?
I couldn't get in.
Oh, Rembrandt, I've done you a grave injustice. Of course you couldn't get in. Warren Roberts has the key.
This minion Roberts.
I'll tell you later. We've got to work fast. Mallard sniffed something in the wrong key, and the police will be in on the deal before long.
Mallard, the gumshoe?
That's right. I've just got to get pictures of the layout so I can study them.
In my own fumbling fashion, Candy, my love, I have given birth to an idea.
Even from you, Rembrandt, I'll take it. I'm grabbing at straws.
Straws. Very effective with tall, cool collins.
Never mind now. What's your idea?
Let us hie ourselves to a locksmith. Present ourselves as man and wife, and a peasant will make us a key. Voila! Entree to the Meadery's apartment.
No, Rembrandt, that'll never work. Oh, wait a minute. 3 flats to the house. I used to live in just that kind of a house out on Fulton Street when I was a kid.
A nauseating thought.
Rembrandt, those flats are identical. If we can get into the flat above, we can get what we want.
I think I fathom your reasoning, Candy. In other words, the living room is just the same.
That's right.
The dining room, likewise.
Check.
And the same goes for the bedroom, the kitchen, and even the,
That's right, even in there.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go slumming in Gresham Alley.
Go ahead, Rembrandt. Ring the bell.
Always I must do the labor.
Oh, pooh.
Well, I hope we don't disturb the dead in the middle flat.
You won't. From what I hear, she was done in sort of permanently.
Oh, appears there's no one at home. Come on, Candy. Let's return and see what Bacchus has to offer.
No, wait. I thought I heard something. There, you see? Got all your flash bulbs?
As they say in the old country, have I lost my marbles? Open the door. Beauty before age, my dear.
Thank you, Remby. Kind of dark in here.
A peculiar aroma. Definitely smacks of the Far East.
Yes.
Something you folks wanted?
Chalk up, Candy. It's your cue.
Why, yes, may we come up?
What do you want?
Well, we're with a magazine, The House Lovely. We want to take a few photographs of your place.
At this hour?
Working press is never shackled by the hands on a clock, sir.
Sounds phony to me, but come on up. What do you want to take pictures of this beat-up joint for?
Well, you see, it's comparison. The old and the new. We've already taken pictures of a flat similar to this, only it's been remodeled. This is perfect for the contrast.
I guess it's all right. Go ahead.
Start with the hall, Rembrandt.
Roger, my pretty. Let's see. This should be just about right.
Mm-hmm. Now the bedroom. That should be off the hall here. Oh, yes. Shoot from the door, Rembrandt. Can you get the entire room?
Not quite, but most of it.
That'll do.
Just a moment. There we are.
You cats work fast.
What was that?
I said you work fast.
Yes. Now, in the bathroom, do you have a tub or a shower?
Why don't you see for yourself?
No. On second thought, I think that's about all we need.
But Candy, you said that we
Come along, Rembrandt. And thank you very much.
Well,
Mr.
that's okay. And don't slam the door. The lady downstairs is sound asleep.
Rembrandt, I think I've got this thing licked.
Are you referring to this case or my desire to return to the arms of Bacchus?
That I could never lick. I'm talking about the case. But I need help, Rembrandt.
I'm here.
No. That's not enough. I need the big, strong arm of the law.
Oh, no. Candy, you traitor.
I hate to admit it, but I need somebody like Mallard.
Am I being paid?
Oh, no. It's the wicked genie.
Yoicks, it's the gumshoe.
Yeah, in person.
Mallard, how did you get here?
I took your advice and bought some tennis shoes. All right, Spill, what goes on? Been following you around till I'm punchy. Start talking, Candy.
Okay, so you heard me. I do need your help, Mallard. Badly. There was a young girl murdered yesterday at 27B Gresham Alley.
Is that the place you just came from?
That's right.
Why don't we ever hear of these things?
Oh, I get exclusive rights. Anyway, I think I have the whole deal figured out. You can have full credit, Mallard, but you've got to take my advice.
It hurts, but go ahead.
Now go back to 27C Gresham Alley. That's the top flat.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find a character there named Danny Andrini. Take him. Then get out to 5711 Pacific Street as fast as you can.
All right, I'll do it. But Candy, so help me, if this is a foul-up, on you the new look with stripes is going to be very fashionable.
She knows what she's doing, Mallard. When you get back to Gresham Alley, just tell Mr. Andrini that you're from House Lovely. He'll adore you.
This is it, Rembrandt. I just hope my man Montgomery hasn't retired as yet.
What are we doing out here on Pacific, Candy? This is out of our league.
All of a sudden, I've become socially conscious. Come on, Montgomery, answer the door. Right on cue.
I beg your pardon. Did you ring?
No, Montgomery. We crossed the moat and used a battering ram.
I'm sorry, young lady. Mr. Roberts doesn't wish to be disturbed.
Look, Montgomery, remember me? I was here earlier this evening. Mr. Roberts and I had a martini together.
Martinis? Well, it was worth a safari out here after all.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss. I didn't recognize you at first. Yes, do come in, won't you?
The light dawned.
If you'll just wait in the drawing room, miss, I'll inform Mr. Roberts of your presence.
Thank you very much, Montgomery.
I used to know a chap like that in the British Army. By continual groveling and studied abjectedness, he worked his way up to the rank of a private.
Thanks, Rembrandt. That's the first laugh I've had tonight.
What's the pitch, Candy? I don't get it.
You will in a minute. You hear the patter of little feet.
Miss Matson, what's the idea? I thought you were going to check with me by phone.
Mr. Roberts, this thing is bigger than either of us. I just couldn't wait.
Is there a martini in the house?
I'll have Montgomery serve in just a moment.
I don't think there'll be time, Mr. Roberts. Well, where is she?
Upstairs.
You really loved her, didn't you?
Madly.
That just about describes it. Madly. And while you were, shall we say, sponsoring her career, you thought she was playing around with Danny Andrini as well.
Yes, she was.
You're wrong, Robert. I have a letter from Donna Dunham to Danny Andrini. In effect, she told him to blow, skedaddle, vamoose.
What?
That's right. So it seems we have a slight case of mistaken murder on our hands, doesn't it?
Yes. On one hand. On the other, I have two in mind that will be deliberate. You asked for it, Miss Matson. Too bad you had to bring your friend along.
I wouldn't if I were you, Robert.
A writer has a pistol. I thought you said he served martinis.
This isn't exactly a social moment. I know how you private eyes work. You're lone wolves. You confide in no one. So with a pull of the finger, I erase all evidence. Just like this.
He's dead. Oh, I'm really grateful to you, but where on earth did you come from?
Like I say, Candy, you just can't beat these tennis shoes.
Well, that clears everything up except for one thing. Where do we go now for the martinis?
And that's how it happened. My phone rings and I'm into the darndest messes you ever heard of. Sure, Roberts killed her. He was jealous. And I knew I was on the right track when Rembrandt said the apartment above Donna Dunham's smelled like the Far East. It was tobacco odor, the same Turkish aroma I had smelled in Robert's home out on Pacific Street. Danny Andrini? Well, he was waiting for Roberts to return. He was going to kill him. He knew that Roberts had rented the flat above Dunham for sponsoring purposes. Donna was a nice kid. She was just caught in the middle. Flat.
Lever Brothers, makers of Rinso, R-I-N-S-O, Soapy Rich Rinso, presents Boston Blackie, starring Chester Morris.
A string of valuable pearls was stolen sometime today from this shop. Huh? I personally took them out of the safe and put them in the showcase this morning.
Might be an inside job. How about your employees, Mr. Gordon?
Well, just those two women you see behind the counters, that's all. Mrs. Phillips, the short, gray-haired woman, has been here came with us 18 years ago. And I trust both of them implicit bonded delivery service.
And nobody came into the shop today except regular customers, eh? Nobody came in just to look around?
Well, not today. And we always pay particular attention to strangers.
Do you have any kind of a record of people who did come in?
Yes, we have a complete list. You see, when someone comes in to have something repaired, we give him a receipt and keep the duplicate. And when anyone purchases an article, well, naturally, we enter that in our records, too.
Good. I'd like to see.
Yes, Mr. Gordon.
Bring me today's sales records, please.
Yes, sir.
That list might give me a lead, but with my luck, I doubt it.
Here's the list, Mr. Gordon.
I'll take that, Mr. Phillips.
Yes, sir.
Let's see, Mrs. Van Dyke Smythe, George Ellis, Lady Mary Andrews. Let's see now. Hey, this name here. Is this man a customer of yours?
Oh, yes, sir. For many years. He was in about noon to get suspicious of him.
Mr. Gordon, when a string of pearls is missing from a certain store and a certain party was in that certain store and that certain party's name is Boston Blackie, I'm suspicious.
In a few moments, we'll meet Boston Blackie. But right now, I'm told by the best authorities that when you ladies set out to buy a dress, you're mighty particular about the color. And so it stands to reason that once you've got exactly the right color, the one that does the most for you is the expression, I believe, you do your level best to see that it stays that color by the most careful laundering. Yes, you'd pick a soap you know to be reliable, like Soapy Rich Rinso, for instance. For you see, Rinso's peppy suds get out more dirt, but they're safe for washable color. Leave them crisp and vivid even after dozens and dozens of washing. And because you don't have to do any hard scrubbing or boiling with Rinso, your clothes will stay new-looking longer. So better get Rinso before next wash day, for an easier wash day, and for a wash that's Rinso bright and Rinso white. And now to the latest adventure of Boston Blackie. Enemy to those who make him an enemy, friend to those who have no friend. This'll kill Blackie Matthews. I'll have him so cold he could refrigerate a warehouse.
Well, I don't know, Inspector. I don't know.
Oh, you don't know. Of course you don't know. Get this set up. From Gordon's jewelry shop today when he left his watch to be repaired.
You going to pick him up, Inspector?
No, not now. But tomorrow. Tomorrow he's going to call for his watch, and there's going to be a tray full of very valuable stones, practically under his nose. And nobody will be watching him. Blackie will lift a trinket or two, and when he gets outside the store, we grab him. How does it sound?
I don't know, Inspector. I don't know. But if it just wasn't Blackie.
Oh, Matthews, you're fired.
Blackie. Hey, Blackie. Faraday been here, Blackie, has he?
Well, not that I can remember. I haven't seen the inspector in a week. You know, I think I'm on his hate parade.
Oh, you'll be seeing him, Blackie.
Yes?
The boys just tipped me off that he's after you for lifting a string of pearls from the Gordon jewelry shop this afternoon.
Well, isn't that nice? I didn't take them, Shorty.
I know, but that ain't going to stop Faraday from trying to pin it on you.
Oh, he does that from force of habit. By the way, I left my watch to be fixed at Gordon's this noon.
Oh, that's probably what gave Faraday his big idea.
Yes, and you say a string of pearls is missing, huh?
Well, that's what the man said.
Shorty, I saw one of the clerks put a string of pearls in her handbag just before she went to lunch.
No kidding, boss?
Yes. Yes, it was Mrs. Phillips. Oh, you've seen her, Shorty, a little gray-haired old lady. She's been at Gordon's for years.
You think she lifted the pearls?
Well, I didn't at the time. Oh, no, it couldn't be. Mrs. Phillips isn't a thief. But she's a dear, sweet person. She looks like everybody's mother.
Okay, boss, okay. I ain't the one who said she snatched them.
But the pearls are gone. I'll get it, Shorty.
Okay.
Hello, Boston Blackie speaking.
Oh, Mr. Blackie, this is Mrs. Phillips from Gordon's jewelry shop.
Oh, yes. Yes, what can I do for you, Mrs. Phillips?
I must see you right away. My address is 722 Alden, apartment 4B.
I'm definitely at your service. Be right over. Goodbye.
Going before dinner, boss? But something's cooking.
You're right, Shorty. And I'm going to find out what it is.
Good evening, Mr. Blackie.
How do you do, Mrs. Phillips?
Won't you come in?
Thank you.
I'm sorry Mr. Phillips isn't here. Lodge nights, you know. He's been here one night a week with the boys for the last 35 years.
Oh, I see. What did you want to see me about, Mrs. Phillips?
Mr. Blackie, I understand you're suspected of taking a string of pearls from the Gordon jewelry shop. I heard Inspector Faraday tell Mr. Gordon.
That's right. He thinks I took them, and I think you did.
Oh.
You see, I saw you put those pearls in your handbag.
You saw me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Mr. Blackie, please. Please don't say anything to anybody about this, please.
Well, I'm afraid I'll have to, Mrs. Phillips, if the police get too annoyed.
I'm sorry I've implicated you. It's been on my mind all evening. That's why I phoned you.
Now, look. Look, suppose you just put those pearls back in the morning, and then there won't be any trouble. Now, how's that?
But I can't do that. I haven't got them.
Did you sell them? You know they could be traced to you if you did.
I didn't sell them. Oh, please. I can't tell you anything about them. I'm in terrible trouble.
Well, why not let me help you, Mrs. Phillips?
Nobody can help me. It's something that happened years ago, but I don't dare tell you about it.
Don't dare, huh?
No.
Sounds as if somebody was blackmailing you. Does your husband know?
No. No, he mustn't ever know. It would kill him.
Well, of course you know your blackmailer won't be satisfied with just the pearls, Mrs. Phillips. Next he'll want something else. You'll never be rid of him unless he stops.
I'm afraid to tell you anything, Mr. Blackie. But you're right. He isn't satisfied with just the pearls. He told me when I gave them to him. Oh.
Uh-huh. I see. He doesn't waste much time, does he? What is it he wants now, Mrs. Phillips? Come on, please tell me.
A ruby. A 20-carat ruby we have in stock.
I see. And what would happen if he didn't get the ruby?
Something terrible. But I won't let it happen. It mustn't happen. I'll get him what he wants.
Well, perhaps what he wants won't be there for you to take tomorrow.
You mean you'd take it first?
Well,
Oh, you couldn't. You mustn't for your own sake as well as mine.
for my sake.
Yes. This morning, Inspector Faraday told Mr. Gordon that he was going to lay a trap for you tomorrow when you come for your watch. They're going to put some jewels on the counter where you can get them easily, and then they're going to arrest you as you leave the store.
Oh, they are they? That's very interesting.
You won't take that ruby now, will you, Mr. Blackie? I've got to get it. To keep someone from talking.
Well, I don't know, Mrs. Phillips. I've got an idea that from now on, I'm going to do all your talking for you. Matthews, all your cops out of sight?
Yes, sir.
Hey, there's Blackie's car now, just coming along the street. You see it?
Yeah, almost opposite the store. He's driving pretty slow.
Come on, Matthews. Let's get out of sight.
Yeah. Blackie, you're crazy. Here we were yesterday minding our own business. No pearls, no rubies, no trouble. Now where are we?
Right in front of Gordon's jewelry store. And we're about to stop, Shorty. And we still have no pearls, no rubies, but plenty of trouble. And I'm afraid we're going to have more.
You mean you're going across the street to Gordon's and lift that ruby like you said?
Certainly. Mrs. Phillips is in trouble, and I'm going to help her.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to meet whoever's blackmailing that lovely old lady, Shorty. And that ruby is going to be my introduction.
Okay. So you meet him, so you take care of him. That old lady still stole the pearls. That's still a crime.
I'll get those pearls back. And give her the ruby to put back, too. Then nobody will be hurt. Except our blackmailing friend.
Well, what about the trap Faraday set for you?
Oh, that? Well, that makes it more interesting, Shorty. You see this cigar?
Yeah, sure, I see it.
Well, look. The center is hollowed out.
Uh-huh.
That's why you're here.
You brought me along because the center of the cigar has a hole in it?
That's right. Now, when I come out of the store, I'll be smoking a cigar, and when Faraday grabs me, I'm going to be so surprised, I'm going to drop it. And you're going to pick it up.
Me, boss? I'm going to pick up a butt just like the old days?
That's right, Shorty. And you're going to take very good care of it. Because in that hole in the cigar, there's going to be a 20-carat ruby. So long.
Okay, Blackie. Good luck.
Thanks. Well, good morning. Hello there, Mr. Gordon.
Good morning, Mr. Blackie. Well, I'm busy right now with this young lady.
Oh.
Mrs. Phillips has your watch ready for you.
Well, good morning, Mrs. Phillips. Beautiful morning, isn't it? You have my watch?
Why, yes.
Oh, it's this cigar. I'm sorry, Mrs. Phillips. Oh, my, what lovely rubies.
Here's your watch, Mr. Blackie. That will be $5. Please don't touch the ruby.
$5, huh? Well, thank you very much. Here you are. Goodbye, Mrs. Phillips.
Mr. Blackie, you shouldn't have...
Goodbye, Mr. Gordon.
I'll take another step, Blackie.
Oh, Inspector Barrett. Oh. Well, you startled me.
Yeah, I see. Now get back in that store and keep your hands in the air.
Matthews?
Yeah, Inspector.
Now get the boys on all sides of Mr. Boston, Blackie. We're going back in the store and searching.
Hey, the ruby's missing.
No.
He took the ruby.
Take it easy, Mr. Gordon. Of course he took it. I told you he would, didn't I?
Yes, but when will I get it back?
Just as soon as we search Blackie. Which we're going to do in the back room right now, Mr. Gordon.
Boys are ready, Inspector.
Good. Well, it's nice of you, Inspector, to have provided a police escort back into the store. Don't mention it, Blackie. You make bad bargains. What do you mean? You've only had that ruby 30 seconds, and it's going to cost you 30 years. Now, let's get back in the other room and start this search. By the way, Inspector, don't forget to look in my pocket. Well, what did you do with that ruby, Blackie? We've searched you from head to foot, and we can't find it.
Well, he must have it. I saw it on the tray just a minute before he came in. And after he left, it was gone.
Yeah.
You arrested him before he could move from the door. He must still have it.
Well, maybe I swallowed it. Very clever, Blackie. You're very clever. I've got an idea. Maybe you did swallow it. Are you kidding? Well, we'll soon find out. I'm going to see what you look like behind a fluoroscope. I see. You want to get the inside story. Well, it seems as
as though Boston Blackie's plan to steal the ruby might have suffered disaster. However, we'll see about that in a moment. Right now, maybe it's the heat, but I definitely feel a poem coming on. Here goes. There was a young housewife named May, who, if you asked her, would say,
My what? A delight. Yes, it's white, Rinso white. For Rinso suds, hip, hip, hooray.
yes, many a woman cheers those rich, peppy Rinso suds. Not only because they help her to turn out such a dazzling Rinso whitewash, but because they save her so much hard work and time.
And these hot August wash days, that's something. Well, I think I just give up. If I had to pick up heavy loads of clothes, put them in a steaming boiler, lift them out, scrub the life out of them.
Stop. I can't bear the whole idea. It certainly is different than the Rinso way.
Heavens, yes. I just plop my dirty clothes into a tub full of rich Rinso suds, let them soak a little while, give the extra dirty places a few quick finger rubs, and they're ready to rinse.
You hear that, ladies? It's a mighty fine prescription for a hot weather wash day or any wash day. Better get Rinso tomorrow. And now back to Chester Morris as Boston Blackie. In order to deal with the unknown man who is threatening aged Mrs. Mary Phillips, Boston Blackie has stolen a 20-carat ruby from the Gordon jewelry shop and hidden it in a cigar. Inspector Faraday has been unable to find the ruby, but now has an idea that Blackie has swallowed it.
I didn't swallow the ruby, Inspector. I'm strictly on a milk diet.
You'll see, Blackie, as soon as you stand in back of that machine.
Faraday, the fact that the ruby was 20 carats is throwing you a little. You see, a ruby is completely indigestible, believe me.
Very funny. Now get back of that machine, Blackie.
All right. But supposing the ruby doesn't show up.
Am I excused for the rest of the day, teacher?
Get back of that fluoroscope.
All right.
Now, how's this? Yeah. Now just stand there. All right. Turn on the machine, Doc. All right.
How do I look, Inspector?
It's an improvement. I can't. How does this work, Doc? Any object such as a ruby will show up clearly if he has swallowed it. You see anything?
Now, don't tell me you see a strange man and I'm going on a date.
Me neither. Okay, turn it off. Come on out, Blackie. All right, put your shirt on and then beat it. I can't hold you.
Oh, bless you, Faraday.
Bless
You know, it takes a big man to know when he's licked.
I'm not licked yet.
That's what I mean. Good day, gentlemen. Just a minute. Did you spread the rumor that I got away with a ruby, Shorty?
Yeah. I spread the story all over town just like you said, boss.
Then if I'm lucky, this is the fish that swallowed the bait. Coming. So, how do you do?
Boston Blackie?
Yes, that's right.
My name's Tom Elliott. I'd like to thanks. All right, if I sit down?
Certainly. Make yourself at home.
You can give me the ruby you took from the Gordon jewelry shop this morning. I know you've got it.
Oh, you do, huh? Well, why should I give it to you?
I believe you're going to want to give it to me.
And just why am I going to want to give you the ruby, Mr. Elliott?
You know Mrs. North? Ever meet her husband? A wonderful man. They're crazy about each other. Have been for 35 years.
Well, what about it?
Rather interesting story. You see, before he married her, that's 35 years ago, he escaped from prison. Of course, she didn't know anything about it when she married him.
When did she find out?
When I told her.
Oh.
I had to tell her, you see. If I had come to him with this story, I'd have gotten nothing out of him. He'd have committed suicide and given himself up.
I see. So you want his wife because you went to his wife because you knew you'd do anything to protect her husband. Even steal to keep him from going back to jail. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And her long and trustworthy service in the Gordon shop completed the setup.
Well, you know, that's just about the way I figured it. Only I didn't know the details.
I told them to you for one reason.
Yes?
If you don't give me the ruby, I intend to turn John Phillips over to the police. Well, do I get it, Blackie?
You get it.
Good, and I don't want any interference from now on, either. Let's understand that, too.
I understand. All right, here's the stone. Now get out of here before I forget that your scheme is foolproof.
Goodbye, Mr. Blackie. You're a very...
What's up? Tell that man that just left here.
Right.
I'd like to know why a rat like that lives, and I'd also like to know where.
Mr. Blackie.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Phillips. May I come in?
Please do, Mr. Blackie.
Thanks.
The police didn't find the ruby?
No, of course not. But your friend, Mr. Elliott, called on me.
He told you?
Everything.
Now, look, Mrs. Phillips. I guess maybe I'm a sentimental sort of a fella, but I believe anybody who's gone straight for 35 years is entitled to a break.
Oh, it sounds so wonderful to hear you say that.
Why, there's a story in the papers almost every week about some governor pardoning a man who gives himself up after years of going straight. Well, providing he hadn't been convicted of a major crime.
Well, you see, John had been gambling and signed it.
Oh.
I investigated his case. But of course, he doesn't know it.
Well, he won't. Now, I think I have a plan that'll work. We have two things to do. Get back the pearls and the ruby and prevent Tom Elliott from talking. The first is easy. The second, well, we've got a slim chance.
Is there anything you want me to do?
Yes, definitely. In half an hour, I want you to call Inspector Faraday and tell him that you know a man who escaped from jail 35 years ago.
What?
Now, please trust me, Mrs. Phillips. It's the only way I know that we can stop Elliott.
But I don't see how that will stop him. Oh, I couldn't do that to John.
Well, don't you see you're doing it for John? Now, first of all, you're to tell Faraday that the man who escaped from jail 35 years ago is a man named, make up any name, say Fred Mullins. Then act a little bewildered. Don't tell him who you are, and just say you know Mullins is free, but you don't know where he is.
Then what do I do?
Then you're to hang up.
I don't understand, but if you say so, I'll do it.
Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Blackie. And that thank you comes from my heart. I was afraid my world had come to an end.
Oh, Mrs. Phillips, this is only the beginning. Oh, come on. Let me see you smile. Yeah, that's better. Bye.
Hello?
Shorty?
Oh, hello, boss. Say, I got that guy's hideout peg. It's 1761 East 13th. Apartment 6B.
Good. Now listen, Shorty. I want you to call Faraday.
Yeah?
This guy's your Allenby, who happens to be in the city, and who also happens to have escaped from prison 35 years ago.
Oh, who's this Allenby, boss? Gee, I thought I knew them all.
Oh, I just made it up.
Oh.
Play dumb, Shorty, and we'll have Mr. Faraday good and confused.
Won't be the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, Blackie, it's as good as done.
Thanks. See you later.
Inspector Faraday, I have some information.
Yeah, who is it?
Oh, that ain't important, but there's something that is.
Huh?
You know, I know a man who escaped from jail 35 years ago, and his name is Edward Allenby.
Yeah?
It'd be a feather in your cap if you arrested him.
Look, I got enough feathers now to be an Indian chief. Where is this Allenby?
I don't know.
What jail did he bust out of?
I don't know that either.
What is this, April Fool's Day? Goodbye. Faraday talking.
I just wanted to tell you, Inspector, that a man named Fred Mullins escaped from jail 35 years ago. You can find him if you hurry, but I don't know where you're to hurry to. Goodbye.
Hey, wait a minute. What is this, an epidemic of crackpots? Hello? Hello? You hung up. Yeah, Faraday speaking. This is Blackie, Inspector. Oh. I've got a tip for you. I know a man who escaped... If you're going to tell me about somebody who was supposed to have broken out of jail 35 years ago, Blackie, I'll wring your neck. All right, Inspector, all right. Then I won't tell you. Goodbye. 6, boss. Getting out, please. Thank you. Postman Blackie. Oh, no, you don't, Elliot. No closing doors in people's faces. It isn't polite. You mind if I come in? What do you want here? Well, I want that ruby I loaned you and the pearls Mrs. Phillips gave you yesterday. Oh, you do, eh? Uh-huh. You see, Mrs. Phillips is going to put them back in the store tomorrow morning when Mr. Gordon can find them. You'll think they were just misplaced.
Your memory isn't very good, Blackie. You weren't supposed to interfere anymore, remember? And I was supposed to forget about John Phillips cracking out of jail?
Yes, I know. Only that doesn't matter now. Now, let's have those pearls and that ruby, Elliot.
Sorry, Blackie, but they're staying with me. And I'd advise you to stand still.
Oh, a gun, huh? Pretty unoriginal. But I'd expect that from a small-time crook that blackmails old women.
This gun has killed 2 men, Blackie.
That's all.
With me on the trigger. And you know what they say about all things coming in threes?
Yes. The expression is all good things.
Don't worry, this will be good. I'm going to leave town until I need more money, then I'm coming back and put a little pressure on Mrs. Phillips again. I know a fence out west who'll pay a fortune for those pearls and that ruby. My bag is packed and I'm on my way. But I'm afraid I've got to kill you first.
Well, you know that 38 is liable to make a lot of noise.
Yes, but this silencer will make sure nobody hears it.
I see.
Hey, keep your hand out of your pocket.
Oh, I haven't begun, Elliot. I just wanted to get my cigarette case. Okay?
Yes, but it'll be the last cigarette you
Well, at least this is one way of breaking the habit. Will you have one?
Sure. Hey, that's an expensive case.
Yes.
I'll take it with me when I go.
I have a lovely gold inlay you might like also.
Now, don't get too close. Just stand where you are and hold that case out as far as you can. I can reach.
Oh, you mean like this?
Yes. Thoughtful of you, Blackie. I'll take this. Ow! Sucker.
Oh. I don't know when I've enjoyed doing anything so much. Those pretty little fingers of yours are going to hurt tomorrow, Elliot. So you killed 2 men, huh? Well, I can't wait to tell Faraday. Now, come on, hand over that jewelry, Rat. I'm in a hurry. I can't wait till I see the expression on a lovely little old lady's face.
All right. Faraday, you've got me in jail, and I suppose you're sending my fingerprints out west.
That's right, Elliot. Blackie finally got around to doing me a favor. You've got a little record in this city, too. You didn't tell Blackie that. I think we've got a priority on you.
Doesn't matter where I go to jail. I just want to tell you this, Inspector. I've got a little information for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. I know a man who escaped from jail 35 years ago.
You too? Look, Elliot, if I hear one more word out of anybody about some guy who was supposed to have busted out of jail 35 years ago, I'll bust that guy in half. I sent for you, Blackie. On account of you've got a right to know. Well, thanks. I sent this Elliot's fingerprints out west, and he's wanted for 2 murders, just as you said. Uh-huh. And for one right here in this city, too. No. Thanks for the tip, Blackie. How did you manage to catch up with him? Oh, a little old lady told me. Huh? Yes, so I put 2 and 2 together to coin a phrase, and I said to myself, dear old Faraday. He's been so nice to me lately. What better way of showing my appreciation than to make him a present of a murderer? Thanks, Blackie. Oh, not at all, old man. But by the way, now that you've looked inside my heart, certainly my stomach, did you ever recover the pearls and the rubies? Oh, yeah. Didn't you hear what happened? No. Well, Gordon called to tell me that they were right in the shop all the time. No. Yeah. Can you beat that? Old Mrs. Phillips, who works there, found them in another drawer. Well. And they lived happily ever after. What'd you say? Oh, nothing. I just said they lived happily ever after.
In just a moment, we'll hear a preview of next week's exciting adventure with Boston Blackie. Meantime, ladies, I have a real piece of advice for you about dishwashing. I've mentioned it before, but if you haven't done it already, I'd suggest that you tote that big green and yellow Rinso box up from the laundry and see how much simpler the job can be. Yes, Rinso's rich suds really go to town for you in the dishpan. Get dishes, pots, and pans gleaming in a jiffy. Rinso's kind to your hands, too. So get Rinso tomorrow, and be sure to use it on wash day so you can join in the chorus of women who sing their way through washing clothes like this.
Rinso, Rinso, happy little wash day song. Rinso, Rinso, beauty all day long. You'll find that the sun has another 2 cents, so listen, you can't go wrong. Rinso, Rinso, happy little wash day song.
But, Inspector, how do you know Boston Blackie's dead? I told you, Matthews. All I know is some guy called me on the phone and said that after I'd come down here to Blackie's apartment, I could pick up the remains. Who called you? I don't know. He hung up on me. You think it's another one of Blackie's tricks? Well, we'll know pretty soon. If it is, I'll break every bone in his body. So here we are, 6th floor. He's in 6B here. Hey, Chief, look. There's a guy flat on his face right outside the door. Blackie, I don't believe it. Gee, bumped off right outside his own apartment. Yeah. He's a swell guy, Matthews. One of the best. Sure, he got me sore now and then, and I used to rib him, but when it came right down to cases, he was a swell guy. I'll get the guy who did this if it's the last thing I ever do. Writing my epitaph, Faraday? Huh? I hate to disappoint you, but that body isn't mine. Boston Blackie. So
Summertime means warm weather, and that means more perspiration. Use Lifebuoy in your daily bath or shower to protect yourself. You'll love its rich, purifying lather. Remember, too, that of 7 leading brands, Lifebuoy gives you the most soap for your money. And besides, it's the only soap especially made to stop... Be sure to listen at this same time next week for another exciting adventure with Boston Blackie. You can see Chester Morris as Boston Blackie on the screen at your favorite movie theater. Boston Blackie's latest Columbia picture is One Mysterious Night, soon to be released. Richard Lane appears as Inspector Faraday, music by Charles Cornell. This is Harlow Wilcox saying goodnight for Boston Blackie, brought to you by the makers of Rinso, the soap that gets clothes Rinso White.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.